So I just bought myself the biggest monitor ever. It barely fits on the table, but it does. What was I thinking though? Everything, but clearly not Amazon. Why do I say that? Well, because this is actually the monitor. Everything else that you see, that is wasted space. Now Amazon did fill it up with packing paper on the top, but they did not fill it on the side, so the box could actually move back and forth. And also what was strange is that the monitor was actually placed upside down inside the box, so like so. And you clearly see that the top should have the handle. So I was looking at some 27-inch gaming monitors, the cheaper the better and with all of the features, and this one fit the bill. What is it? Well, it is... does it say? It does. So it's KTC H27T7. Will you find any specs on it online? I doubt it. I think it's fairly new, but KTC also has a lot of monitors with similar specs and names. The best bang for buck from KTC is the H27T22. Now that one is, I believe, year 2010-22. The latest versions of that monitor are the H27T22S or the C versions. While those two are slightly different, the biggest difference is the stand, which is non-adjustable, which the H27T22 has, and this one also, I believe, has an adjustable stand. But we'll take a look. So let's continue with the unboxing. So the instructions should be pretty simple. You lay it down, it says front. It does not say front, but it does say front here, so this is the front. So you lay it down, then you pull this up, open it and pull everything out. Top cover, pinky secret, pull it out on both sides, pull it down, and pull out the box. Now that was a tight fit, but it did came out. So we have the external power supply, missing the cable. It should also be included. We have the stand, the bottom of the stand anyway. It's quite light, so I believe it's just plastic. Then we have the cable for the power supply, and I believe this is an HDMI cable for the DisplayPort cable. So the power plug cable and the DisplayPort cable. As for the length, let me just do a quick measurement. So without the connector, this is about 1 meter, and let's see, I would say 1.5 meters. We have the instructions. I will definitely take a look at those, at least quickly anyway. They do have some KTC monitor color calibration factory report. So supposedly it's a pass on the gamma, color temperature and the color difference. I don't have a colorimeter, so I can't really test those values. We have some basic information. Should be all good. And lastly, I think this is the second part of the stand. It is. Let's take it out. So it's pretty much all plasticky. It does have the height adjustment. Does it have any tilt? It does. So onto the right side it tilts 90 and also 90 degrees to the left side. And I doubt the base moves. So no rotation on the bottom. So so this simply clips in. It's fully plasticky, the bottom base at least. Also this stand is fully plasticky, so you can go up and down, turn it 90 degrees left and right, and you can then also tilt it up and down a bit. But you can't rotate it left and right like so. That's it for the stand and the connections. The monitor, I think, just stays in place. So on the back of the monitor we have the power input for the adapter. We have a USB slot, which does say it is service only. Then we have two HDMIs and a display port. And lastly, we have a headphone jack. As for the buttons, we just have one. It is also thumb only, so you can press in and you can do right, left, up and down. As for mounting the stand, this will simply slide in, and we have a button down here, so this will then clip this port down. So if you just want to then release the monitor from the stand, you can press the button and unclip it. So that's basically it. It wasn't so bad. Now when it comes to the name of the monitor, you know how it says KTC H27T7. Why does it say Z7 on the back? Now I did also take a look if a Z7 monitor exists, but I could not find anything. So the naming scheme from KTC is a little bit strange, to say the least. When it comes to the power supply, it is 12 volts at 4 amps DC, so 48 watts total. Now if you have no place to put the power supply, what you could do is route the cable through this hole and all of the other cables that you need, then put the power supply here and simply zip tie it into place. And connect this side of the power supply plug to an outlet. And now for the grand reveal. It's not that big, is it? So I have a 24-inch in the back and the KTC in the front. Now what I've done at the moment is lower it a little bit, so let me bring you to the eye level. So this is what you may expect. Now I have lowered it a little bit. Now it goes all the way down, and so I don't use my fingers. Let's go with actual measurements. 5 centimeters and 4 centimeters from the stand. If I tilt it downwards though, 4 centimeters and 2.5. So depending on the position, the distance will also change. I think this is pretty much 90 degrees though. So let me now position it to its highest value. Then this will then be, let's say, 17 centimeters and 16. Something about that. As for the highest point, it's about 54 centimeters to the top. Now, as you saw, you can also rotate it. So if you just do it like so, it will hit the stand. So first you will have to tilt it back. And this is just physics. And now you will have the diagonal clearance. So you can rotate it 90 degrees and then position it back. I do like how easy it is to move, and when you change the position it also just holds. When it comes to stand sturdiness, I think it's okay. If you bump a corner, well, seeing as the stand is not metal, this thing is quite solid. as opposed to the LG monitor in the back. So the stand is really awesome. I was expecting it to behave like the one in the back. So I have now made this my main display, so let's focus on it. Let me do a quick monitor test for pixels. So all good on the white. I did have some specks of dust, but no pixel damage. Though let me go with the ISO monitor test, this one does have a lot more tests. So I guess this test is to make the colors as similar as possible, and I can still see the rectangle with the colors being just one value different. So I still see it. If you can on the camera, I do not know. I think this is all good, but I think I actually wanted to use the lagom test. So this is the one that I usually use. So can I see all of the colors? Maybe not the blue one on the second. All of the others I do see differently. Now if I squinted my eyes, probably I would see number 2 as well. Then we have some contrast. Now mind you, I have not done any changes whatsoever to the monitor. Now in this case you do have to squint, and the 2.2 is pretty spot on. The gamma values are nice out of the box. Maybe let's go over the on-screen display that you access from behind with the thumbstick. Now while editing the footage, I noticed that most of it from this point on was blurry, so let me do this again. On the back you have a thumbstick. You can position it left, right, up and down, and then click it in. If you click it in and hold it for about 2 seconds, the monitor does turn off. That is what I found out a bit later when I turned off the PC and no way to turn off the monitor. Now when it comes to the thumbstick, it's very easily to be pushed to the left side if you just want to click it in. So that may be a bit annoying. As for the options themselves, the display, you have the brightness, contrast, black equalize. You can choose among the presets, sharpness, professional modes, native and sRGB. I'll just use native for now. Now when it comes to the presets, this will pop up if you want to select it. So this is the movie mode. It really brights up, and you have the photo mode, eco mode, reader mode, RTS mode, and FPS mode. Let me just go with the user mode for now, and then let's go with the next setting, which is the color. And this is something that is a bit strange. So normal will be selected by default, which is like this. And then if you select user, it gets really bright. So maybe I will just use normal for now. During nighttime, when this was set to user mode, the whites were really bright. When it comes to gamma, you can actually set it, and I believe the 2.2 out of the box is really close, at least when I've done the lagom test, which I'm not sure if I've shown you, but maybe I'll do it in a bit. So I did say that I will do the lagom test. I have left off at this point, I believe. So I can see this one. So this is the black levels. I can see number 5, number 4, but not really number 1 and 2. Maybe if I would squint, I would be able to see number 3. The white saturation, I can see the last one, and I faintly see this one, 253. and the maximum value is 255, which is completely white. Now let me just redo this section because I think the video was also blurry. So out of the box the gamma is set to 2.2, and if I squint the values are pretty spot on. Now maybe in this case it's actually more of a 2.1 to 2.2. But in any case, I think out of the box the monitor settings are just fine. So you can set the hue, saturation, and low blue light. Then we have the gaming setup. FreeSync, I have enabled this. Overage drive, I've left it to standard, but you can use advanced, ultra fast, or auto. It's best if you do your own UFO test. I will also do a section on that. Now this is a UFO test. I don't know how good you'll be able to see on the camera, but the top one is pretty much spot on. The other ones, they look like jittery, especially the last one. This is not the test that people usually do. The one that they usually do is this one. So the ghosting pursuit. Now in this ghosting test, if I take a look at the top one, it has a little bit ghosting behind, as with the middle one and the bottom one as well. This is with the standard overdrive preset. So I can now go with advanced. And then also ultra fast. The advanced looks the same to me. And the ultra fast, I think it's actually, yeah, it's worse. So ultra fast is worse for some reason. It has a lot more ghosting on all of them. Is the advanced better than standard? That is the question. I think standard is actually the best, so you do not need to set the overdrive mode. So I will just use the standard option when it comes to the overdrive. That's it for the UFO test. I still have the IPS glow test. Then you have the game assist, the timer. You can set this from, let's see, off 15 minutes to 90 minutes. When the timer reaches 0, the monitor does not turn off as I initially thought. It just displays 0. And I will also show that video. So I have been testing out the monitor just a little bit more. I found a timer. I thought this timer was to turn off the monitor, not so. It's under the game assist. I used a 15-minute timer, and once the timer got to 0, it just stayed there. So I guess the idea behind this feature is that once the timer reaches 0, you will simply turn off the game and PC. Will that be so? Only you know. But if I go into the menu, so left, timer is selected, right, and as you can see it's set to 15 minutes. And the timer starts again. But I will simply turn it off because I do not have any use for it right now. And at the very least, I would expect the monitor to turn off. And speaking of turning off the monitor, you actually can do that. You just have to hold the button in for a few seconds. So let me give this a try. 1, 2, so about 2 seconds. And then press it in again to wake it up. But before it wakes up, it takes a little while. So left is back. I'll now go right. Warning, if changed the default settings, it will increase the energy consumption. Please confirm if continue or not. So the English is not the best. I do not know what it does, so I will cancel for now. The crosshair, you can select different kinds. And now I have a green dot in the middle. So that is what that does. And let's see the FPS counter. What does this do? On. And I have FPS on the top. So I guess I have 60 FPS. The crosshair, I think I've shown you this before. It's just a dot in the middle of the screen. As for the FPS counter, it just displays the FPS of the monitor and not actually the game that you are running. As for the DCR, I do not know what this does. I do see a slight change in the monitor, so in the brightness of the monitor, but that's about it. Now advanced settings, you have HDR, it's set to auto by default. The DDC/CI, I also do not know what this is, but in this case I do not see any visible change when it comes to the monitor brightness or something like that. And you also can change the OSD style, so from green, red, crystal blue, and glow orange. Maybe I'll just use the default one, so Cypress green. As for the inputs, we have 3 of them: DisplayPort, HDMI 2 and HDMI 1. The biggest difference between the 3 is the frequency that you can actually use, and I will show you that in a bit. And lastly, we have the system settings. So we have language, English, probably Chinese, Korean, then French, German, Italian, maybe Russian, and Spanish. Now the OSD setup, you can also position this screen to how you want it to be. So basically left, right, up and down, because you do have the horizontal and the vertical position and also the timeout. So 15 seconds by default, and it goes all the way up to 60. And you can also set the transparency. I think the default 20% is just fine. The LED indicator, I have disabled it, but if you enable it, this is the LED indicator. I think this feature is a nice addition, but it also is not that bright that would be annoying. When it comes to the audio, no built-in speakers, but we do have the audio headphone jack at the back. You can mute it or change the volume. Now one thing that I can also test out are the headphones, since I do have one with this jack. Now by default the audio is very loud and I can't stand it, so one thing that I did like on the cheap LG monitor that is in the back is that it had quick access to the audio. This one does not, so you actually have to go to the main menu, system set, and then go to the audio and set the volume. And I'm not really sure this is a good setting. Why do I say that? Like 0 is mute, obviously. If I increase it to 1, it's loud. What was it at 50? Definitely too loud. But the loudness is kind of the same all the way down to 1. Like obviously 50 is a lot louder than 1, but still, maybe I'll leave it to 10 for now. So if you want to see something else, or maybe that I have missed, do let me know in the comments and I will do a test if it is within my ability. By default you cannot access the audio with the thumbstick, but that is why you have the hotkeys. So you can have a hotkey for the right, left, down, but not up. Let's see what you can set. So brightness, volume, mute, color temperature, game assist, preset, HDR, black equalize, and aspect ratio. So you can set one of them to each key. The USB upgrade, currently the version is Euro 1.0.1. I have no idea if the monitor will get any updates. If it does, you will be able to update it using the USB port in the back. When it comes to the FPS counter, let me just enable it quickly. So it is displayed on the top. I have already made some settings. Out of the box, this set 60, even though I have DisplayPort and also the FreeSync enabled. So in that case, what you have to do is go to the display settings. I will go to advanced display settings, and as you can see I have set it to 180 Hz. By default this was set to 60. So if the monitor is not performing up to spec out of the box, this is what you have to do. Now one thing that is annoying is anytime, let's say I'm pressing right or down, this window pops up and it just acts as the feature that you have set to be on the hotkey. So in that regard, it is quite annoying because you have extra clicks to do just to get to the feature that you wanted. Now, how about the specs themselves? You will not find a lot about the monitor, at least I have not, but most of the information that I did find was on the Amazon page. And the pricing itself, when I bought it, it was 165 euros. This included the voucher and also a 5% discount. And the 5% discount was applied before the voucher, so that is why it was 165 euros. Now the specs, 27 inches, 2560 by 1440p, 180 Hz, this is over DisplayPort, 144 over the HDMIs, fast IPS panel, 1 millisecond gray to gray, HDR400, G-Sync, FreeSync. The brightness is supposed to be 450 Lux, lifting and rotating support, which I guess it is accurate, but the marketing material from KTC, at least when it comes to images, is not that accurate. So this image, this one is correct, it has the correct stand, it has the thumbstick, it has the Z7 on the back, it has 2 HDMIs and 1 DisplayPort. And I guess you can use 185 Hz, it is supported, but that is overclock. 180 is the default. Then we have the USB for the firmware update, headphone jack, and the DC port for the power supply. We do have the product dimensions and the weight, supposedly 5 kilos. The model name does say H27T7, and that's about it. And also date first available, at least on Amazon, March 16th of 2025. And this is the image that is incorrect, so you can tilt it forwards and backwards. You can also rotate it 90 degree left to right, so it can be in the portrait mode. You can also lift it up and down, but you cannot rotate it to the left or to the right, so from the stand, because the stand is fixed, the stand does not rotate. And in this case it says we have 2 display ports. This is incorrect, so this image is for another monitor. Now if you go by Amazon reviews, they can be positive, they can be negative, but at least in this case you have to know that one product page is supporting many different monitors and resolutions. So in this case it's IPS QHD 180 Hz at 27 inches. Now the monitor is gigantic, and do I have anything installed that I can play on it? Now let me do a quick gaming test. This is Cyberpunk 77. As for the settings, ultra settings at 2516 4040p. I don't know if any frame rate can be displayed, but it looks just fine to me. So this game looked okay, but let me try another one that will actually display FPS. Now it is an older game, but Steam does have the FPS counter on the top. So the settings are pretty much maxed out. And let's see how this game looks like and behaves on a Ryzen 5600 and an RTX 3060 Ti. Currently I have about 150 FPS. Let's go pew pew some mobs. So 105 was the lowest just now, which is not bad for this PC, this resolution at maximum settings. Now when it comes to YouTube, at least at the moment, having set the audio to 10% on the monitor and having the system sound set to 100, the audio is just right for me when listening on the headphones. Now if looking at a series or a movie that has the top and the bottom cut out, I don't really see much of an issue with the blacks, which what I'm trying to say is that the blacks are just fine. I guess the movie mode does depend on the actual movie. At the moment, in this case, the movie mode does look a bit better. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this pamphlet is pretty much useless. I was expecting to see some more spec information inside the pamphlet, but this monitor is supposedly so new that they did not actually include specifications inside this pamphlet. Now, based on my initial impressions, I can definitely see the KTC H27T7 be the best budget gaming monitor that is currently available, especially if you get it for about 165 euros as I have gotten. And this is especially true if you will be fine with the stand that the monitor comes with. And when it comes to the stand, I am definitely impressed with it, especially when I do the wobble test. That will be it for this video. If you found the review helpful of the KTC H27T7 monitor, do leave me a comment down below. Also subscribe to the channel if you would want to see more content like this, and to help me make it, use the Amazon links down below. It won't cost you any more, but it will help me out to buy new budget tech-oriented gadgets. That's it for this video, and we'll do something else in the next one.